me ask what episode, if you remember, was that Alex had phoned in?
Oh, I couldn't possibly remember the exact one. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's just one from that era. You know, the early. I will tell you one thing: is that one of the very sad occurrences was that we lost a lot of our archive from the days when I was host and when Jeff was host. Because what would happen would be, especially when I was co-host, I would bring a fresh VHS tape. That's how we did it back then, VHS tapes, and to record that day's program on live. And then I'd keep the tape, and then I would put it in the ACA library as our archive, right?
Right.
And then what happened was when the internet started, like internet radio was the first thing, right? And there was someone hosting an internet radio network for godless programming, atheist programming. And one of our members, whose name shall go unmentioned, took every single last one of those tapes and sent them to this guy so that he could, get the audio off them, right? And we never got the tapes back. So somewhere out there in the world, there's like 3 to 4 years of early 2000s atheist experience that's just missing. It's gone. So,
really?
Yeah, it's very infuriating. A lot of people are like, oh, it'd be great to see some of those old shows. I might still have like 1 or 2 tapes in a closet somewhere that didn't end up in that stack, but
yeah, because I made my way back through like the archive, and I think I'm approaching 2006, 2007, something like that, and I'm going backwards, and I'm now at the point where Matt didn't shave his head. So I'm still going back.
To be honest with you, if I were to see some of those shows from like 02 or 03, I would probably cringe. I mean, it's like we still kind of new of it. I was not as experienced as I am now. I was not as knowledgeable, and a lot of times we were winging it. We probably got quite a bit wrong, but we were learning as we went. And that was what was fun about it. It was this very dangerous sort of flying by the seat of your pants thing that we were doing. We had no idea what to expect in the calls. We had no idea who was watching us, or how many people. Right now, like on Ustream, you can just look right there at the bottom of the window and see what your viewer count is.
Right.
We couldn't do that in cable, so for all we knew, we were just talking to a wall. But so it was this very much not knowing what we were doing thing that I think made it as enjoyable as it was.
Yeah.
Because we had no freaking idea what we were all about.
That's kind of where
we're learning, right? And
yeah, that's kind of where I am, and I kind of like look to the show that you do, and I'm like, all right, that's the setup. So
there you go. Learn from our mistakes, and then you'll just get it right all the time. Because you'll know not to do when we fuck up.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's kind of a good thing and a bad thing that I'm not bombarded with calls because it's like I'm not well known yet. It's not that popular, so we're a garbage band atheist show, and so it's not that bad. So I can just freely talk and whatever. I think if I was bombarded like you guys are with, you guys get calls all the time, right? So I think I'd be a little bit more taken back, and the show might be a lot more sloppy. So I'm kind of okay with not being that popular right yet, and I don't know if we'll ever get popular, but it's fun doing it. So
stick with it, and the word I guess will kind of spread. I think as you're saying, I think we had kind of the same attitude at that time. It's like we were new at this. We had no idea if it's one person out there, right, or at least anybody who wasn't an existing ACA member was watching us. We had no idea, so we sort of felt like we were at least free to screw up, and it was okay if we didn't get it right all the time. Certainly we strived to be the best we could be, but and there's certainly things back then that I know we did that weren't good ideas. We would have a news section every day, and that was kind of point. It was like that was sort of pointless. It's like, well, okay, but people can read the news, so we don't need to. Yeah. And so that evolved into other things. So we would just try whatever we could come up with to make the show interesting, and we felt that kind of freedom to get it wrong, simply because we would have days when the calls, the thing, it would light up like a Christmas tree, and then we would have days when we barely got 2 or 3 calls, and so yeah, we felt like it was okay to mess up because it wasn't really going to have that much in terms of immediate long-term consequences on our credibility.
Yeah. That's kind of what I'm hoping for, because I've already been corrected a few times, which I'm good with, and I leave it up on YouTube if there's a correction. But the first show was a little bit nutty and sporadic, but I think we did a good job, and we were talking about creationism, and instead of kind of knocking down their points, we just kind of reinforced evolution. Like, check out this. We brought in a skull and all this stuff, so it was pretty cool. The second show, I didn't have any regular co-hosts, and so I brought in another guy, and he's like, what should I do? I'm like, well, anything you like. This is basically what I do. And what does he do? He comes in and talks about Zeitgeist. So I was like, oh, shit. Anyways, and because he buys into it, so whatever. So he goes on for like 8 minutes, and I don't really want to fight with him on the show, right? So at the end of it, I just kind of put a disclaimer like, okay, Zeitgeist is renowned by a lot of atheists as just bunk, so go check it out, check out both sides of the story, and I just moved on. But
and Zeitgeist it's one of those things where it's, I think, important to have good conversations about it, because that's something that is. No, it's one of those where it mixes truths in with non-truths in a way that if you don't look too deeply into it and study what it's actually saying, you won't really know where that distinction is. And so I don't want anything out there persuading people. We've gotten some emails from people who would tell us that Zeitgeist is the reason that they became atheists, and we're like, because we want people to become atheists at least for sound reasons, proper, true reasons. And on the one hand, you can look at these old, Christianity and understand, yes, it's a syncretic religion. There are elements that were borrowed from existing traditions, etc., what have you. But some of the specific arguments that Zeitgeist goes on to make from there aren't well founded,
right?
And it's mixed in a way. So I think it's important to have discussions about Zeitgeist. But I imagine it would be very jarring to have somebody come on and be like, "Yeah, we're going to help you out," and then it turns out to be a total. Yeah, it would be easier too if Zeitgeist. And here's another caution that I have to people who want to take that movie seriously, is that one very disturbing thing I have found from the people who email us, and they're Zeitgeist fans, is that they become, in a manner that is not dissimilar to creationists or Christian apologists or people who have some sort of agenda to push, they become very emotional. They become very angry at criticisms of the movie. They become very defensive, emotional. They do the usual thing of accusing us of being closed-minded while not being willing to listen to, well, here are criticisms of the film, right?
Right.
And again, that's a danger. When you become that level of fanboy or devotee to where you won't hear, a discouraging word, you won't hear the criticisms, you react angrily to the criticisms, guess what boat you're in now? You're in the same boat as the creationists. You're in the same boat as the 9/11 truthers. You're in the same boat as the Alex Jones crowd. You have, and that's what's disturbing to me, is that it's something that is appealing to the atheist community, but that I think has far more similarities to, what's going on in the more dogmatic agendas, paranoid conspiracy theory communities. It's that kind of following that it's getting, and that bugs me. I don't like to see rationalists, people who should be rationalists, and I think atheists should be rationalists. We should be people who care passionately about what the truth is,
right,
while at the same time being the first people to admit when we are wrong about something.
Yeah.
Because that goes hand in hand with being passionate about what the truth is.
Right.
If you haven't got the truth, then you should be like, aha, I see now. Here's what the evidence does not support this after all. I was wrong. I will now change my view.
Right.
Being passionate about the truth is, is now